This special general meeting, the 19th of March 2025. So we're just wanting to record who's present today and just noting and welcoming Councillor Cruz, who's attending via Teams. So welcome Councillor Cruz and welcome councillors and staff this morning, as well as our live streamers as well. Thank you. And next we have apologies or leave of absence. So I'd like to record an apology from Councillor Chris Whiteman for today. There's no other apologies or leaves of absence? No? Okay. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Newman, seconder. Councillor Hindmarsh. All in favour? Thank you, Councillor Cruz. Thank you, motion carried, thank you. Next we have item 3, which is acknowledgement of country. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live, and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. I pay my respects to elders past and present. Thank you. Next, we move on to item 4, which is the purpose of this meeting today. So the purpose of the meeting, of this special meeting of council, is to consider the development application DA050-2024 material change of use, non-resident worker accommodation, Rosewood Street, Blackwater. Moving now on to conflicts of interest. So do any councillors have a conflict of interest that they'd like to record today? No, thank you very much. Moving to item 6.1.1, which is DA050-2024 material change of use, non-resident worker accommodation, Rosewood Street, Blackwater. There was a procedural motion ahead of this because it was laid at the table, on the table at our previous meeting in February. So I would firstly like to put the procedural motion to raise this item off the table. I'm happy to move this procedural motion to lift it off the table. Can I ask for those in favour of lifting off the table? Thank you very much. That's unanimous and motion carried. So for this motion to be discussed, I'd like to ask for a mover, Councillor Cypher, and seconder, Councillor Newman. I'd like to now pass over to General Manager of Communities to say a few words to this report, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, councillors, for attending today. I have with me Brendan Standen. Most of you have been able to introduce yourselves to Brendan this morning. Brendan is our new manager at planning. He's here on a temporary secondment to cover Kirsten Byrne, who you all know. Also in the gallery, I have Hamish Slade, who's the planning officer who has done a significant amount of work with Paul Hanley, the consultant principal planner, on this particular report. As councillors would be aware, this report has previously been presented and was laid on the table. Officers have subsequently workshopped that report with councillors. We've responded to questions from councillors regarding specific conditions. We have also undertaken some review of the documentation and taken consideration of the comments and actions taken by councillors at the previous meeting. And we have now presented this report again for reception and resolution. In terms of the report itself, there have been very few changes, so we will take it as read and are happy to answer any questions that may arise.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Cypher, as the mover of this motion, would you have any questions or comments?
Just a comment. I think that the report says it all. This has been reviewed by legal, King's Counsel. I think it's fairly straightforward, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cypher. Councillor Newman, as a seconder, do you have any questions or comments?
I'm in agreement with Councillor Cypher. The report is quite comprehensive. It's answered all the questions we had raised previously, and I thank the officers who prepared it.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. I hand over now to any other councillors who have any questions or comments. Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you. I guess a couple of comments. I'd just like to, I guess, represent the Blackwater community and just be a little bit of a devil's advocate. So just to clarify, so today's decision is basically to decide on whether the two. Sure. Is that, oh yeah, that works. Holy dooly.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. Councillor Wilkins, sorry. Just for the viewers, just to realise that we've just had a couple of technical problems with our microphone. So thank you. Over to Councillor Wilkins.
So what's happening today is that the two. Third time lucky. Maybe I just shouldn't say anything. So what's happening today is we're deciding on whether the two development applications we're combining them and removing the sunset clause, just for clarity.
We are combining them, yes, Councillor.
Yep.
And we are removing the sunset clause in the recommendation, yes. But the sunset clause itself was temporal and removes itself in August. So
yes.
What we're doing is we are giving a new approval
Yep.
on this application.
Yep, but the approval is to just remove that sunset clause.
Yes.
Yep. So, so my understanding was look, I'm just saying viewpoint. My understanding of this. I am voting for it, but I just want to put point of view of locals across. So, I guess originally the sunset clause, the idea was to give time, I guess, for some movement of FIFO workers or miners to move into town. And then that sort of, hopefully by the end of the term, then a lot of workers would be in town and wouldn't be needing to stay in the mining camps. So that hasn't happened. And so now we're voting, so there's no change, there's no new accommodation being built. There's nothing changing at all except the sunset clause. And also there's a couple of conditions added, namely the landscaping to make it a better, at least viewing position. So that I guess people who are moving into town or those who are buying houses neighbouring it have at least don't have an eyesore to be near to. So I guess my main concern is the compliance. From the previous development application was the landscaping was not done, and given that they had respectively 11 and 9 years to do it, and albeit it was under EDQ then, but it still wasn't done. And my understanding too is that they own the neighbouring, camp, which they have done landscaping for. And I just wonder, well, if they were going to do it to the neighbouring camp, why wouldn't you do it at the same time? I would have thought it would minimise expense to do it. So that's just my main concern is the compliance, and if they are not compliant, what action can council take?
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Through you, Madam Mayor, if I may. Simply, the condition that was applied to the previous approval, and there was a landscape condition, wasn't particularly strong. In this approval, Council have strengthened those conditions regarding the landscape approval, and it requires the developer to prepare an approved landscape plan, and it will be approved by Council, by officers. The developer has also heard Council's concern from the Capella meeting, the General Council meeting at Capella, where it was clear that Council had some concerns over the landscaping component, and they are aware that it will be a priority in this particular approval. To that end, Council have also put into that condition a requirement for some of that landscaping, or that landscaping to have significantly commenced within 6 months. And Council will be able to enforce this one directly through our own compliance team, which we do via periodic inspections and a requirement to both initially get the landscape plan approved, and then we would, within the 6-month period, require them to have undertaken what would be deemed significant commencement of that project. So they would have had to have plant stock. It may not have grown to its permanent height, because obviously you plant tube stock and it grows, but they would have had to do a significant proportion of that. Council does have a number of avenues and mechanisms to ensure that that enforcement and the development to the landscaping plan is compliant, and we would be doing that with this application and approval. Does that answer your question, Councillor?
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Any questions or comments? Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Burns, for your beefing it up with the compliance, and thank you for the report. It's quite good.
It was the officers, Councillor Burns. Thank you. They did all the work.
You can pass the compliments down then. No, this is much better, and making sure they comply is good. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from other councillors? Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. So, oh yes, sorry, back over to Councillor Cypher to close.
Thank you. Just happy to support it. And there is a great need in the Blackwater community and many mining communities. It is a lifestyle that people choose to drive in, fly into our region. We would never be able to provide enough residential housing to support the industry if it wasn't for camps in our region. So I support this 100%.
Thank you, Councillor Cypher. So I'll put the motion now, or recommendation, is that the application for the Priority Development Area, PDA, development permit for material change of use non-resident worker accommodation, in brackets, 788 beds, made by Quantac Proprietary Limited, Carer Bill Gannon, on Lot 1 SP 246036, located at Rosewood Street, Blackwater, is 1. Approved subject to the following conditions below, which are listed on the agenda. And 2, the decision notice is issued to the applicant in accordance with Section 89 of the Economic Development Act 2012. So can I call for those councillors who are in favour? Councillor Cruz. Unanimous. Thank you very much. I think that is pretty well the end of our meeting this morning. So thank you all very much to the councillors, to the officers for all your work. And thank you very much, councillors, for your comments and questions. So bringing our meeting to a close this morning. Closing our meeting at, is it 9:14? 9:15. Thank you all very much.